Hello, everyone. Good morning or good afternoon. Welcome to our Friday Lifestyle Biohacking webinar. And on Fridays, we like to focus on a topic that's going to help you get younger, faster, supporting your Youth and your Telomega and your Surrey on rejuvenation process. So, Dr. Chris, good morning. Do you want to announce
Good
what our topic is
morning.
going to be today?
Yes, good morning, Dr. Tina. And we're going to talk about detoxification because it's really a misunderstood concept and I'd really like to get into it. So welcome
Sure.
everyone, and let's talk detoxification, Dr. Tina.
Exactly. Well, what is detoxification? Not to be confused with retracing. We're looking here at detoxification. This is getting the toxins out of your body. We're in a time where toxins are coming in pretty quickly. We're breathing them, we're drinking them, we're bathing in them, we're walking in them, we're living in them, we're eating them. And toxins can leave us very sluggish. They can cause brain fog, inflammation. Ultimately, toxins accumulated in the body cause disease. When we're young, our body is pretty good at being able to flush out the toxins. And so when it's unable to do so as we age and we get too many toxins, we get backed up, and these toxins become stored in our tissue. And this is a very misunderstood topic, but when you detoxify your body, you can effectively change your life.
So, Dr. Tina, I'd like to just add to what you're saying is that the confusion usually comes in when we don't understand that we have to look at where we're at before we start a detox. You have to look at having enough energy to do it because detoxification is a very stressful event. And if you're already overwhelmed, if you don't have the energy to do it, then that's a mistake to start to detox. And then the other concept is to make sure your detoxification systems are open so that you can have the toxins leave and not just recycle back into the body. And of course, looking at your toxic burden, how much are you incorporating on a daily basis? So all of that has to be considered before detoxification, and those are the things we want to get into today. So Dr. Tina, go ahead, next slide. You got it.
Absolutely. How do we become toxic? First of all, our diet, what we're ingesting, our alcohol, if it's heavy alcohol, if it's fatty foods, if it's chemicals in our foods. Hey, if you've been exposed to parasites from a foreign country, E. coli, this is in our fruits and veggies now, medicines. We have to remember that if we need to take a medicine, remember it's toxic. There's a toxic load with that. Any drugs or alcohol, or drugs or tobacco, our environment, we are exposed to so many different things, the pesticides, the heavy metals, cleaning chemicals, poor water, emotional toxicity. Think about the traumas that you may have experienced, whether you remember them or not. Any unresolved issues. Let's say you were angry from something years ago and you still carry that around. That actually becomes very toxic to the body. Any relationships that you're in that could be toxic. All of these things create that toxic burden or that toxic load. And one thing we can't forget is that toxicity can be caused by just the natural aging process and the slowing down of our body's detox pathways. Dr. Chris.
And these are really a good list of burdens to, just keep in mind because we are adaptable. And oftentimes we think that we're not having these stressors impact us because we've adapted. Just like a smoker, when you first start to smoke, it's just, you cough and choke and it's toxic. But then your body eventually adapts as if smoking is okay. And so these are the things to really make a list and do a personal inventory to see what kinds of burdens are you adding to your environment that you need to reduce. So this is a good slide to everybody just to document and to take an inventory on a regular basis.
Right. And
Next
most of us
slide,
like
Dr.
to
Kim.
go out to eat, to different restaurants. Just know that you will be going into a toxic environment, because they're probably not going to be using organics. The meats that they're going to be serving are going to be full of hormones. So you have to remember that whenever you go out for a meal, you need to really take a look at everything, and so eventually the body just gets overwhelmed. And Dr. Chris, do you want to talk about the 5 phases of detoxification?
Sure. These are really the major phases. There's multiple dynamics that go on here, but you can look at these as different levels, different stages of detoxification. And when your body initially is exposed to a stressor, it goes into an excretion phase and has the ability to alleviate that stressor. Like we said, over time, if we don't do it efficiently enough, the excretion is overwhelmed and those toxins build up. And then now you feel the irritation of those toxins. Instead of them coming in and going out in the same day or within 24 hours, they build up. And then as they build up, they cause an irritation. And over time, if that isn't alleviated, like I say, we adapt and think that that irritation is just a common part of our daily experience. It becomes an inflammatory response, and this can be anywhere in the body. So it's we refer to them as the itises. If it's in your eyes, conjunctivitis, ears, it's otitis. If it's in the throat, you have just different types of inflammation that get diagnosed by the doctors as just a different kind of itis. But it shows you how you've advanced down this stage of breakdown of the inability to detoxify or remove the stressor. And then you get hardening of the tissue, and then eventually just loss of function. And when you understand how to properly detox, you can reverse this process. And this is why we focus on helping you understand the dynamics of reversing the process, because that's true rejuvenation and often referred to when it's uncomfortable as a healing crisis. And Dr. Tina, anything you want to add?
When we end up, down in these later phases, we will experience disease. And so when we look at detoxification, it's a great practice to do, even if you're not dealing with some sort of named disease, because you can kind of head it off at the pass. You don't have to end up going into a true imbalance by helping your body cleaning up those pathways and getting your detoxification naturally producing on a daily basis. So what are those pathways? We have our immune system. There's our innate immune system and our acquired immune system. Acquired means we've changed our immune system over time, and our microbiome has the immune system as well. So all of those pathways are really important when we're looking at a detoxification process. And then we have our liver. We've talked about our liver. A lot of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease is prevalent today. And so we have to look at phase 1 and phase 2. And Dr. Chris, you might go into those a little bit afterwards. And then the gallbladder, we have to have that healthy bile made from the liver and the gallbladder so that we can process those fats. And then the kidneys, we have to be able, our urine, we have a pathway every day. Obviously, we need to urinate. Our GI tract, our stools have to be moving as well. All of those should be opened up before you even start a detoxification process. Your lymph nodes, a lot of times when people go into a detox program, their lymph nodes get very swollen. And there are ways we'll talk about what you can do to help alleviate that. But number one is movement. You've got to make sure you're moving, not aggressively, but, moving the body so that your lymphatic is pumping out all of that toxicity that you're dumping back into the system. And breath with our lungs. Our lungs are such a great area of detoxifying. So doing deep breathing exercises is really important as well. And then our skin through our pores. If any of these other areas are backed up, let's say the liver, many times we're going to end up with rashes as the toxins are going through the emergency exit, which is our skin, and we'll have those breakouts. So there's all these different areas need to be open and working and functioning and supported before you start a detoxification process, and then also through the process. Dr. Chris.
Yeah, another simple way to really understand is that these are all the different pathways described through the different bodies, organs, and systems, but they're designed to get rid of the different kinds of waste. We're talking about solid waste, liquid waste, and gaseous waste. So that's why we're talking about breath and urine and stools. And it all really starts with the key detoxification organ, and that's the liver. And the liver is designed with powerful enzymes to break down those toxins, and then that's phase one. And phase two is it's a conjugation phase where those toxic products are combined and neutralized so they can be removed through the bile, through the gallbladder, and just through the different pathways. But the emphasis, and we'll get into this a little bit more, is that you see the first dynamic with that immune system. The innate one is one where it's just naturally there, but acquired is when the body can't handle the specific type of microbe or that's attacked or come into the system. So it has a way of educating itself and acquires a way of neutralizing that toxin. That's what we mean by acquired. It's something that it adapts to. And then, of course, we talk about the microbiome as part of the immune system, because when we say 70% of the immunity is focused in the gut, is because that's where most of the toxins come in at. The liver is detoxifying, but what is it doing? It's dumping into the bile, and the bile goes into the intestinal tract and is removed through the intestinal tract. And so the microbiome plays a key role there. Also, the microbiome plays a key role in breaking down the foods that don't get digested or absorbed into the system. So you see the major onslaught of let's say toxins comes to the intestinal tract, and why 70% of the immunity is designed to be there. So these are all the different organs and systems that are the pathways, but it's to remove the solid, the liquid, and the gaseous wastes. And when you get overwhelmed with any of these, like when the lungs get, liquid waste or solid waste, that's when you get the congestion in the lungs, is because the lungs are only designed for gaseous waste. When the kidneys are overwhelmed from the toxins in the blood, it can't do the separation so that you have proper fluid elimination. So here's where we see, from a medical perspective, a health perspective, we look at the different organs and systems and how they're handling their function or how they're being overwhelmed, so we can support them and look at the different systems that aren't working, causing the other systems to get overwhelmed. So this is a great presentation to go over and over again to understand how your body's working to detoxify. Dr. Tina.
Right. And Teleuth is one of the best formulas that you can take that will support every single one of these systems, these pathways to help open up the elimination of the toxic waste. And once those pathways become open, you're typically going to have weight loss and more energy as well. So very important to focus on these. And
Exactly.
what are some of the detoxification options? Partnering Teleuth with herbs. If you have a cold and you need to detoxify, because a cold is saying, okay, you know what? I've got a toxic response. There's something in my body that needs to move out. You can partner that with astragalus, echinacea, and paudarco. Those are three very powerful herbs. A cough, golden seal, and berberine and lungwort. Berberine, by the way, is getting a lot of press lately. It's a fabulous herb that I would tell you to maybe take a look at. It's helpful for blood sugars and balancing, helping with weight loss and metabolism, but it's also very powerful for it. So it's something that you don't want to take every day. You definitely want to cycle on and off. Most of these herbs, do not take them every day. They're so powerful. If you have a sore throat, you can have Oregon grapefruit, golden seal, and again, berberine in partnering with your Teleuth to help with those three areas for detoxification. When we're looking at our GI tract, your prebiotics and your probiotics, Teleuth powder has built into it the prebiotics. Okay. Fasting. This is one of my favorites. I love to fast. I love doing a juice fast. Just last week, I did a 3-day juice cleanse, just green juices. Then there's the water fasting. There's a dry fast. And this is where you actually have, they call it a dry hard fast. You have absolutely no access or touching to any kind of water or liquids. You stay completely dry. And this is a very short fast, typically 24 to 36 hours. Some people do 72, very difficult to do, but all of these require very different lifestyles that go along with when you do a juice fast or a water fast or a dry fast. And we love time restricted eating. This is eating within a very short window of the day, getting all of your calorie intake, possibly within about 6 hours, okay, or 8 hours. The time that you don't have those calories, or when you're doing a juice, water, or dry hard fast, there's something that kicks in with the body called autophagy. And autophagy is the body's process of reusing old damaged cell parts. And the good cells will go and clean up and utilize those old damaged cell parts. So it's like this self-cleaning that happens. Then there are detoxification programs. There's a liver cleanse, kidney cleanse, colon cleanse, parasite cleanse, heavy metals. When you engage in one of these detox programs, if you don't know much about them, you might want to work with a practitioner that can help you with those. Okay. And then with exercise, there's cardiovascular. We say do cardio, get your body moving. But however, if you're going to be doing a dry fast, you're not going to do cardio. You're going to do more yoga or stretching or walking. With heat, this is also a great way to detoxify. We have the sauna options and hot soak baths with Epsom salts. And then there are breath exercises. This is important to clean out the lungs and rebuild the tissue in the lungs. And that's really getting the deep breath exercises, really focusing on many different types of exercises. There's so many out there that you can do, but that will help strengthen your lungs as well. And a lot of people, when they do start that deep breathing or those different breath exercises, you'll cough things up out of the lungs that are very deep within. And so you'll detoxify that way. Dr. Chris? I'm going to hand it over to you for your insights.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Tina. And, you know, again, this is a topic that is very powerful. We will learn about these different methodologies because they describe how you regain health. We're not talking about relieving symptoms like a conventional approach would be. You take a medication to relieve a symptom, and you get some type of, you take over control of the body. This is the ability to regain your health so the body can do its normal function the way it was designed. But here's what we were talking about from the first slide. Most individuals will hear about fasting, or they'll hear about a detox program and say, oh, wow, this sounds great, so I'm going to do this. But that's where a practitioner needs to get involved, because the practitioner is going to determine if you have enough energy to handle the detoxification, if you have the drainage systems open to handle the detoxification. Are you removing the other stressful, toxic burdens in your environment to handle the detoxification? Because each one of these can overwhelm the body if you're not able to be in the right state to handle the detox. So you see how this is a very, serious topic from the standpoint of the ability to regain your health, but understanding you have to know where the body's at. And this is why on these calls that we help individuals understand that, you start taking Tello유th and it activates your regeneration, and you're reestablishing these different methodologies naturally. And your body goes through it, like it brings out the weakest point in your body. So it's like Tello유th is a diagnostic. You start to take it, and as your body regains the energy to clean itself out and repair, you find out where the weak organs are, where the kidneys or the liver or the intestinal tract is overwhelmed and causes a toxic reaction, a healing crisis. So these are the ways to support the Tello유th, along with identifying the specific area that you want to accelerate the detoxification process, and also requires many times the health professional to guide you through, especially the detox programs or fasting. Anything, when you're fasting more than 3 days, you need to have supervision. So understand that this is very powerful healing and regeneration technology, but at the same time, you have to be able to know where the body's at in order to handle these very powerful processes.
What are some of the things you can feel when you're detoxifying? Okay, you get tired, fatigued. The first thing that I would say is if you live with somebody and work with somebody, people, and you go through a detoxification process, please give them a heads up, because you will not be the same. Things are moving through your body. I highly recommend doing this at a time on a weekend when you can get through the first couple of days, because those are usually the most difficult, and that's when you're going to feel that fatigue or excessive thirst. Brain fog is a big one, especially if you're moving chemicals or heavy metals out of the body. You can get the brain fog and the headaches. That goes really hand in hand with that kind of a detox. Gas or bloating is going to happen, especially when you're cleaning out the gut, right? That whole microbiome, and moving, some of the bad microbes out of the system. Flu-like symptoms are very common: strange pains, twinges, skin rashes. Heads up if you're getting a skin rash during a detoxification process. You definitely want to jump into a hot Epsom salt bath to help move the toxins out. That just means that your other pathways might be congested and the toxins aren't able to move out. And one of the things when you're doing a heavy metal cleanse, or like a real heavy duty parasite cleanse, you want to make sure that you have something that's going to catch the toxins in the colon and pull those out. And one of the things is charcoal, activated charcoal. There's other great products out there. Just work with a health practitioner. You might end up with constipation or runny stools. The emotional piece, again, you could have some old anger issues come up. You could have crying spells. You could have, just be careful that it's not somebody else. This is something that's happening within you, that's transitioning out of your body. Be gentle and kind with yourself and everyone else around, and deal with the emotional piece with a journaling process, or, go out and sing or walk in nature. And you might have strange dreams, and that's the subconscious that is moving out some of the stuck emotional trauma and energies. And that's a fabulous, easy way to have some of that old energy moving out of the body. Dr. Chris.
Let's move on to the next slide and just kind of wrap things up here about how to assist the detoxification process. Because again, if you're doing something positive and you experience these symptoms, then it's part of the healing process. But if you're doing something stressful and you're experiencing these kinds of things, then the key is to remove the stress. And so here's the ways you can assist your detoxification. We talk about drinking more pure, clean water, increase your tello유스. Your tello유스 could bring on the symptoms of cleansing, but when you eat lighter foods, increase the water, and then you can increase your tello유스, and just do it gradually according to how you can handle it. Sometimes, the detox is so rapid, and when we talk to you on the calls, we tell you decrease your tello유스. So this is something you need to self-regulate. Know that tello유스 is a very healthy supplement. It's a food, a concentrated food, but because it activates the cleansing and healing in the body, then you can regulate that with as far as the amounts on your own, and just feel free to do it, because again, it's something that's very safe to do. And then when we say eat lightly, it means, not just reduce the amount of food that you eat, but they're very cleansing foods. They're high in fiber, they're full of, they're watery foods, meaning that they're soups and fruits and veggies, that the high water concentrations that facilitate the delivery of their detoxification elements. And then, make certain your body is eliminating the waste. So you have good elimination, good urination, good breathing and lung capacity. Because if you don't eliminate those wastes, as you activate the detoxification in your tissue and your cells, it's just going to recycle and redeposit. So what have you done? Really, essentially nothing. You've just caused a lot of discomfort and haven't really facilitated the healing and the rejuvenation. And of course, rest. And we say this because the energy is focused inside the body to do the detoxification. It is a stressful process. And so then your body knows, in order to do that, it has to focus on the organs and the systems that facilitate the detoxification. So your energy is not to be expended outward. So this isn't a time to, work overtime or to do extra things. It's a time to focus on just doing these good habits we're talking about, and resting the body while it's doing the detoxification. And Dr. Tina, talk about just loving yourself enough and to facilitate this process.
Absolutely. It's just to be able to appreciate what you're going through and helping your body. And the other thing is, restoring. You're going to go through a detoxification process. The other part of that is make sure that you're restoring your body afterwards. Taking, then you start your tello유스 program with your telomega, and sometimes you'll stop that during the process. Depends on what kind of cleanse, what kind of herbs, what are you doing? Everyone is so unique and so different. But if you are in a place where you have the capacity to be able to do a specific detoxification, we highly recommend that you do this as part of, your longevity process, okay? Because it will help you in the long run. Remember, what you do today affects tomorrow.